Heyo, everybody. Welcome. Well, I'm wearing orange. Renee's not. She's wearing purple, as orange as it looks. Anyway, y'all can't see that over on the old fuchsia. What did I say?
Purple, but it's cool.
Well, hey,
Close enough.
hey, that's
Purple and
ballpark.
pink together.
Ballpark. Hey, if you can't tell, behind us, we're here in 4th Sector, Ontario, and big day today. Final pitches for the startups of the cohort Instantaneous Accelerator. So we're super stoked to have them see all their hard work come together and wrap up another cohort as we're launching into our next incubator cohort. So sign, anybody, non-dilutive, non-fee, want to join, have some early stage, idea stage type innovation and entrepreneurship support through a formal program, a rigorous formal program, have them apply. 6 months. Rigorous. Okay, so this week we are talking about inclusivity. We've covered this topic before, but the power of having diverse viewpoints and perspectives to inform innovations that are more compelling for more people and deeper for those that do utilize them is what this is all about. And in a couple days is International Transgender Day of Awareness.
Visibility.
Sorry.
Close.
I forgot part.
Yeah. Perfect.
So close. But it's important, and we see that all types of people need to have representation. And, a day doesn't seem to do it justice, but it's better than no day. And really where I'm trying to take this is when it's hard for individuals to feel comfortable to be who they truly are, it will be hard for all of us to be as successful as we can be. And we need to have the confidence in other people to be themselves, to represent themselves how they authentically can represent themselves, so that we all can be a better connected and performing ultimately society. So that's really the important bigger picture thing. And then directly how it helps innovation is we want to drive empathy in the solutions that we have ultimately and deliver to stakeholders. And by having diverse perspectives on the inputs to that process, we will have stronger, more robust offerings out into the world. So it's a direct linkage back to this idea of being more inclusive and having, historically marginalized or abused portions of society rejected sometimes, to embrace that and to ensure that we are all supporting one another. So that's the kickoff. And I was wondering, Brene, if you have anything, maybe personal experience in the importance of diversity and inclusion from your perspective in all the awesome efforts that you lead, and if there's maybe anything more specific on transgender understanding, acceptance, all of those important aspects of truly including people into the equation.
Yeah, sure. There's like 6 things.
6.
But
I counted 7, so
I would say to start, I think that people just kind of innately tend to reject things that they don't understand. As opposed to challenging their beliefs, they reject what's being presented to them. So I think once you get over the idea of this this person being whoever they are, expressing however they're going to express it, um, as long as it's not harmful to themselves or others, doesn't really have much to do with me. So therefore, I personally should not feel any type of. I shouldn't allow my confusion or my lack of understanding to cause me to act in a way that is rude or exclusive or hurtful, as opposed to understanding that it is not necessary. Comprehension is not necessary for me to be caring,
Yeah.
for me to be inclusive. I agree that the more times you um, have diversity of thought and experiences, the more um, impactful your results can be, because um, you're pulling from just a broader everything, a broader pool of everything. And um, I think it's been our history, our American history, this is the history of civilization, I would say, to group people together in a way that creates a social hierarchy, that creates um, these kind of this imbalanced way of uh, distributing everything, whether that be rights, whether that be money, whether that be opportunity, whether it be, whatever. And so I think, like step one for people who maybe don't understand what it means to be transgender, or um, the cis female or male, which is, basically just, this is what you were born as, this is how you live your life, this is how you identify when you're heterosexual. it's it doesn't take anything away from me as a human being to understand that this person is different.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way about um, religion. It doesn't make me less of a Christian to be a friend with an atheist. Like,
Atheist.
um, or a Scientologist, and I think that sometimes people feel like, this is my personal opinion. I think
I didn't want you to give someone else's opinion.
This is my cousin's opinion. No, my personal opinion is that, to me, that denotes immaturity in whatever that area is. So it's spiritual immaturity to me to think, if someone doesn't believe what I believe, then that's problematic.
Yeah.
That I'm strong enough in my faith that someone who doesn't share the same faith, it doesn't matter. My faith is experiential. It's for me. Para mí. And I felt the same way about my sexuality. It doesn't challenge my sexuality to be friends with someone who has a different sexuality, or a different gender association. And so I think kind of the first step is to challenge your own thoughts, your own feelings, what they're attached to, and um, let go of your own ego. And I think be more solid in who you are as an individual, because once you're solid in that, there shouldn't be very many things that shake that, to the core, to where you feel like, oh no, I can't be around this kind of person. It's like, get it together.
I think that's awesome. And one of the things for myself that I always want to learn, like, peel back the layers and understand what is it that they've had to go through because they were being them. Like, everybody has to be themselves and find themselves. Some people, if you think about the normal curve, like, oh, right thick in the peak of the normal curve, fitting in with seemingly everyone else. But if you put yourself in a different situation, that normal curve is completely shifted now, and maybe you represent one of the tails. So exploring that
Yeah.
and understanding,
Excuse me.
both the hardships and the joys of that experience without judgment, I think is really the
Yeah.
part that takes some learning, is how
Whew.
to be willing to hear that without layering on top of that our own biases and our own experiences in a way that doesn't allow us to hear the true words of how that person is sharing.
Yeah, I think, having gone through having someone close to me be transgender and thinking back to some of the insensitive things that I've said just out of ignorance and just comments that I've made purely, again, ignorance is really, you have to have this lack of knowledge. Um, there are so many areas in which we all have those personal kind of, if you haven't been exposed to it, you kind of create your own narrative of what it
Yeah.
is. And so then you speak out of that, and that's ignorant. You're not coming from in a place of education or experience, and so then it's ignorance. You just created this idea of, well, how does da, 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 whatever flip it kind of thing that you say, and don't even really mean it to be hurtful or harmful. And I think that step two would be to check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. No, but to
As my boy Ice.
I think that checking the rhetoric that you have and the language that you use about things that you don't have any experience with, it changes, it shifts everything to, instead of projecting what you think it to be, um, I've learned to just ask more questions, even in situations that aren't necessarily related to sexuality, but just, oh, well, what was your experience with this? And how does this? And I wonder, as opposed to saying, um, I won't even say some of the stupid things that I've said. But, just our own, again, it's just coming from a place of not knowing.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, well, how could you be da 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 da?
Yeah.
Or what, how is this gonna, and it's like, oh well, actually, good question. Had you asked it, and I
Yeah.
can I
Yeah.
can actually tell you, and then being open to learning those things. In my situation, um, there are some people who took the transition more personally, like, well, how do I accept that this person is no longer identifies as this? Now they're going to be identified as that. And as opposed to that being the case, I mean, as opposed to me being that way, I just operated under the idea of like, well, this person will always be this person to me. And I would much rather me evolve as they evolve to keep them in my
Yeah.
life as opposed to alienating them. So, yeah, I think check your own personal biases and don't just assume that and then if you truly have a question, make it a question and not like a rude inquisitive statement.
But that brings up another good point, is to have that desire to learn and not feeling overly constrained that every single thing has to be perfect, right? So like even leading into the conversation today, I was like, well, do we say transgender? Like I don't want to say something that comes from ignorance or is offensive or
Mhm.
not fully respecting the position that people have on this topic. And so I'm not doing that though, because I want to know. I'm doing it because I want to be authentic. I want to make sure that I'm learning as I go. But we also shouldn't have.
I'll let you finish, but I
Yeah,
do have a point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I, I think I have a point at some point. We'll try and get there. This is my world,
I
y'all.
believe I believe
Um,
it. I believe in you.
but don't feel like the words have to be perfect in order to broach the subjects. If you're coming at it from an authentic place and you truly are trying to understand and learn, I would encourage you to work on the language that you can use to explore these topics with
Mhm.
people in their lives and their feelings and emotions, but don't feel like it has to be perfect. As long as it's authentic and you genuinely are trying to relate and develop an understanding of their experience, I would let that take precedent over the idea that if you haven't written a college level paper on what it means to be
Actually, how
transgender
fast
in
I
20, that's pretty fast.
what it means to
um,
be transgender in 2022.
yeah, like you don't have to do, it's not that requirement to have these conversations if they're coming from an authentic place. It's
If you're just joining us, today is actually March 31st, but we're talking about it today because it's Innovation Insights. But March 31st is Transgender Day of Visibility, International
see,
Transgender
neither
Day
one
of
of us got it right. It's a lot. It's a lot to fit in. What?
visibility. So that's kind of what we're talking about right now. I did mean to tell you that Chris was coming. Oh, hey, it's Chris. Hi, we're live. um,
Innovation Insights.
so my 2 points to what Kevin was saying is I don't know which one to say first, but I will say, and if you do have those questions of how to be respectful, what do you know what I did today? I went on Google. I went on Google and said, how do we say this? What is this day? What is it actually being bannered as, so that we can make sure that we're saying the right thing. So that point is, don't put it on the person that you have the questions about, right? To be your educator. Chances are they have traumas associated with what they've been through, and um, it may be something that they're still evolving and processing their own feelings. So don't put that weight on them to educate you on this situation. There's tons of books, videos, websites, so I do think, yes, if you authentically come and you have those questions, but I think that you have to also temper the expectation of who you're asking to be the educator and to be the informant
Yeah,
of
great point.
these questions that you have. And again, and you gauge it based on your relationship, because if you have a comfortable enough relationship where you could say, hey, sister so and so, this is what I want to support you in this, and da da da, and you know that she's like, oh, I'm so glad you asked. Here's some videos, here's some books. What other
Yeah.
questions do you have? But then there's also some work that if you truly want to know, there's some work that you're gonna have to do on your own. The second thing that I was going to say is on the flip side of that, because I do try, not necessarily to play devil's advocate, but I do try to be neutral in the way that I look at things, is if you are the person being asked questions, and I'm not just talking about sexuality, I'm also talking about religion, um, relationships, education, money, race, whatever it is, you as the individual being asked the questions, I think it's important for us to um, also check our responses. Because sometimes our responses, because we are answering from a place of trauma, because we are answering from a place of experience of what that pain is like to live with it and feel it and all of those things, um, we can sometimes be counterproductive of getting that care and that um, inclusion, right? We can kind of be excluded because of the kinds of ways that we respond. And
Got it.
so
Yeah.
I think that it's important, when people are coming to you, again, you gauge their authenticity, but it's important for us to also, when you're solid in it, like I said, if somebody asks me a question about the things that I'm solid about, there's no ego in my response. I don't feel like I have to be defensive of my actions because I'm solid in that. So those are my 2 things that I
Awesome.
wanted to say.
Love it. And with that, we'll call it good. Just a couple of quick announcements. Future Fest, Friday, April 22nd, all day long. I don't think we can.
I was gonna show you a flyer. I can. Hold on.
I'll reach.
Oh, okay. He's longer
You
than
hold.
I am. We've got 2 cameras here, so I'll let you guys see.
Yeah.
And then I'll let
No,
you guys see.
it's there. Same camera.
Oh.
Same setup. Future Fest. So a day of celebrating innovation and inclusion and what the future might be. And that might part is about what you want to make it. So that's what this is all about. So register on Eventbrite. just do futurefestftrfst.com. If you want to go there, you can register through the website. We also have tonight, Techo Tuesday. Mr. Hernandez, where'd you go? Oh, he's up front. But Chris Hernandez is here in Ontario. Just started a new job. He's been on the road. So awesome to have him back in the building. He is leading Techo Tuesday here for the region, and it's here tonight. So come out, get here. Great event, always. Good food, good beverages, and good people all the way around. And then we have something on Thursday.
We do.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Not this Thursday. Psych. Tomorrow, Coffee with Kevin Ovation, where we just talk through basically anything that you want to cover. Innovation, entrepreneurship. It's like a big office hours. Oh, Thursday would be your live, is what I was thinking. Work-life wellness with Brene on Thursday. And any specific?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the importance of expanding your circle.
Awesome. And hey, there's Chris. Come over this way a little bit more.
So they can see you.
You can be on both.
On
there
IG.
You go. IG
Oh,
and
wow,
YouTube live.
Finally, IRL, in real life. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Awesome.
Oh, this is so weird. I'm looking at myself on two screens.
Yeah.
I know.
man.
And yours a different color.
Stereo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
don't
so orange on YouTube. But
I'm gonna blame YouTube, but it's all our fault. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
see you tonight. Techo Tuesday.
Techo Tuesday.